I'll be honest, I was a bit afraid when I saw on Thursday that Lord of Fear Aspen was actually getting a brand new Weaponry of Valor treasure set, because as we all know, this hero is just hands down the Demon King's might. Yes, the ability here, he's just the god tier single target damage dealer, the ultimate bosser in the entire game, while also still being extremely strong in just about every other scenario in the game. Maybe the only spot he isn't is like Aspen Dungeon, but even then, I feel like if he can one tap an enemy, there's a good chance he can still clear out a wave. So yeah, this is where I was really afraid. However, all that's not too bad. I don't think they made this a must-have. If you need to see what they are, make sure you go to Weaponry Valor 1, because he's part of the first series of heroes that came out. They really double down on having things be modified or affected based on either killing enemies, which again isn't really for a boss type wave, or having the enemies feared, which again, bosses can't have that fear CC effect. So pretty interesting. Now, I'm just going to go over the baseline version of this, because most people who are considering to go for this are most likely just going to unlock the treasure and not have anything else beyond the first star, which you can see right here. So interesting enough, after you release an active skill, if this attack kills an enemy, which a lot of times it does in like Void campaign, additionally inflicts Soul Sunder on enemies with HP that no higher than 60% for 2 rounds. So they have to have lower HP. What it does is it reduces the owner's control immunity, speed, damage reduction, all damage reduction, and dodge. So interesting. It's all right. If it kills an enemy, additionally inflicts on enemies with HP not higher than 60%. Now that's interesting enough, because it really depends on how much his big AoE does after he kills a target, if the other heroes are going to be affected like this. Like if you're doing a crazy melodic strings, or you know, the upgraded one right out of the gate in round 1, will they be affected by this? Probably not, because they're probably still going to have higher than 60% HP. When we're talking about a boss scenario, unless the boss has ads like maybe Seal Land, then this could be valid. But overall, I think this is a good way to go about it. You're getting some, penetration on their damage reduction, lowers the chance for them to dodge, their speed, their control immunity to get that fear effect, because again, there is some synergy with the other treasures here. The fact that you're lowering the enemy's control immunity and you want to apply fear on as many enemies as possible. So number 1, pretty good. Number 2 is very basic. When the basic attack hits a target, reduces all damage reduction by 4% and attack by 4% for all backline enemies that have fear. Again, they have to have the fear effect on them as well. That's not bad, because I mean, when we actually talk about Aspen, that's one of the really cool core things. Even though his secondary hit, or his basic attack doesn't do a ton of damage, the fact that it already reduces their control immunity by 10% with a 60% chance to inflict fear abyssal gaze on them, that's pretty good. That's actually really good in my opinion, because he hits the entire back row, so essentially is doubling down on that effect right there, which I think is very positive way about going about doing this, and just also reduces their all damage reduction and attack. That's pretty good, because usually you have a pretty good chance, I feel like, of getting fear on the enemy. So fear abyssal gaze, pretty clutch for a basic to then line up another active skill. Again, I like what they did with this treasure. Makes it cool, but not mandatory to have if you want to compete. The next one, of course, when an enemy dies on the battlefield, it deals 300% attack damage to enemies with fear 2 times. Again, it's not a huge amount, because a lot of these types of abilities do like 1,000 or 2,500 AoE damage. It's just 300% attack. It's not a crazy high amount, but the enemies have to have fear on it. So whether you are using him solo or you have another hero that can apply a type of fear effect, it's not super impactful. And again, on this one right here, even if you go all the way to the top, it's just 600 2 times. I mean, it's 1,200 attack. That's a decent hit, but that's pretty much equivalent to what you would get normally from, just from like unlocking some of his higher tier abilities. When we talk about, if we jump back into him and we take a look at his Destiny transition, I mean, that's kind of like what some of these abilities do, right? Like you got this one here dealing 1,500 to the target, additionally deals 1,500 of max HP. There's a bunch of cool ways this goes about. I think, again, this is another one that isn't like crazy impactful, but if you do get it, it will feel good for the progression of your hero. It gives them a little bit more damage, but the cool part is he doesn't have to do anything. He can use the basic attack and get fear on the entire 4 row in the back line, and somebody else kills an enemy. I believe it should work that way. It should. It's going to have to be tested, but I think it's going to work. The last one that is buffing one of his abilities is when one enemy is inflicted with fear, self gains 1 layer of fear devour. For every 4 layers, so technically 1 basic attack can get you all 4 layers, you immediately steal 4% of attack from the one enemy with the highest attack on the battlefield for 4 rounds. Now, if this was back in the day where Ticks was relevant in every game mode, or I guess I should say before Ticks was relevant, this would be very powerful. Granted, nowadays, enemies don't have crazy high attack values and stuff like that. They have additional modifiers that increase their damage because Ticks pretty much broke the mold and made it so that you turn these ridiculously high attack enemies against themselves while stealing their attack, and it just got a little out of hand. So anytime you see like a steal attack effect nowadays, it doesn't excite me too much. Granted, it is still additional attack. It really comes down to what enemies you're facing, because if we're talking about Sealand, this could still be good because it takes like, you have to get 4 fears out on 2 enemies on the back line. It's not going to be very easy to do. Then you steal a little bit of attack from the boss. It's only for 4 rounds. It's not like it's a permanent steal either. Again, I don't find this like crazy must-have impactful. Now, of course, beyond that, the red treasures give him more attack and more HP. Maybe just going for the Santa Claus one here, if you don't have a lot of contract story gems, could be the play. Like if you want to do like, I guess it doesn't really matter about contract story gems because you need to spend money on top of the normal 600 points you're doing for Soul Awakening Gala. 2% attack isn't going to be a crazy amount with all the damage multipliers we have in this game, so just please keep that in mind. I think they went about this the right way. I thought they were just going to make him like completely busted, untouchable when it comes to boss damage. But they really leaned into the ads that die, minions that die besides the boss target. And if there's a game mode that doesn't have like, I mean, like, of course, the immediate thing we talk about is like guild wars and everything like that. If the boss is by himself, really isn't relevant at all. I don't know. I kind of go back and forth with this, but I think this is a very good change. The fact that the main ability requires the active skill to kill a target. That's fine. The second one here, I actually really like this one. The basic attack hits a target, reduces their damage reduction and attack for backline enemies that have fear. The basic attack applies fear as well. I like that synergy there. This one I think is the only one that's really a big burst. But again, it's only going to be usable in game modes like potentially Sealand, Void Campaign, things like that. And then the last one, I like it. I don't think it's going to be very impactful. I don't know. But I'm happy the way about they went about this because it could have gone really south and felt bad if you weren't spending. So this is kind of like little perks. This is what I thought they were going to be like when they first hit. But then we got heroes like what? We got this one here that were like literally paragraphs added to what they were going to be doing, additional damage all over the place, all these different shields, and then they get to this and it's like, oh yeah, these are actually pretty tame for the generation 1 overall. They're pretty tame, I think. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Kind of hoping to see maybe Weaponry of Valor for Vulcan down the road. That would be cool. And I think when we do this event ourselves, we're gonna go ahead and take all the chests we get and just pump these number up for Sun Wukong, because I mean he's the only light hero right now. Use them. That's good. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. I'll see you guys next time.